Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today I'm doing a Beetrooper deck profile. So I'm really excited to see you guys because this deck is an amazing insect deck that is just absolutely fantastic at swarming the field with all sorts of different insect monsters, so you can go into some absolutely incredible boss monsters. This deck makes great use of all of the generic insect support we've gotten over the years, and it's just a really fun deck overall. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of notifications squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron, along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Beetrooper Scout Buggy. This card is a great 3F in the deck and is one of the best normal summons because it has the ability that you can't special summon monsters except for insect monsters, but if this card is normal or special summoned, then you can special summon a Beetrooper Scout Buggy from your hand, deck, or graveyard, which is a great effect to be able to just special summon out another copy of itself to your side of the field from pretty much anywhere. It's just a great effect to be able to extend your plays. We then play 3 copies of Beetrooper Scale. This card is pretty much a Kage to Kage because it has the ability that if a insect monsters is normal summoned or special summoned to your field, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is a really good effect to just extend the plays and get an additional monster on your field. And when a monster your opponent controls activates its effect, quick effect, you contribute an insect monster to destroy that monster, which is a really good effect to be able to just pop a card if your opponent activates an effect. This card is a fantastic 3-of in the deck. We then play 2 copies of Beetrooper Sting Lancer. This card is a 2-of to me. I used to play it at 3, but I really like it at 2 now because it has the ability that during the main phase, quick effect, you can target an insect monster in your graveyard and a monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, place the targeted monsters on the bottom of the decks, which is really good to help you recycle some of your insect monsters that you might want back into the deck. And if this card is normal or special summoned, you get to add a Beetrooper spell trap from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect for this card to be able to do because we have some really powerful spells and traps that this card can actually search. We then play a single copy of Heavy Beetrooper Mighty Neptune. Mighty Neptune is a good 1-of boss monster for the deck because it has the ability that it can't be normal summoned or set. It must first be special summoned from your hand by shuffling 3 of your banished insect monsters into the main deck. And then during the main phase, if this card in its owner's control is destroyed or banished by an opponent's card effect, you can just special summon this card back to your side of the field. But you can only use effect this card once per turn. It also boosts up one of your insect monsters' attack points because during the end phase, you can target one other insect monster that you control and boost it by 1,000 points, which is a really good effect to be able to just boost your monsters up by an additional 1,000 attack points. We then play just a single copy of Assault Roller. Assault Roller is really good because you can special summon it by banishing an insect monster from the graveyard, which is just a really good effect overall, but you really only need a single copy of it. We then play 3 copies of Battle Wasp Sting the Poison. Sting the Poison is a great card for this deck because it's a tuner monster that helps us go in for Needle Fiber. It also has the ability, if it's normal or special summoned, you get to add a Battle Wasp monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of itself, which is a great effect for this card to have. It also has the ability that you can quick effect, tribute one other insect monster, and then target one effect monster your opponent controls and negate its effects until the end of this turn, which is a really good effect to be also a walking negate. This card is a fantastic 3-of because it's super easy to go in for Needle Fiber, and it also gives you a search on the normal summon. Is just a really powerful effect. We then play 3 copies of Pin the Bullseye. Pin the Bullseye is the card that you're usually going to be searching off your copy of Sting the Poison, and it has the ability, if you control an insect monster, you can just special summon this card from your hand. It also does a little bit of burn damage as well, which helps out in time sometimes, because during your main phase, you can inflict 200 points of damage to your opponent for each Battle Wasp Pin the Bullseye that you control, which is a pretty good effect to be able to just do a little bit of burn damage against the opponent. We then play a single copy of Arbalest. Arbalest is a good 1-of in the deck because it has the ability when it's normal summon, you can target one level 3 or lower insect monster in the graveyard and special summon it back to your side of the field, which will help you go for a Link 2 play in this deck, so I play it as a 1-of. It also has the ability, if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, then you can special summon a Battle Wasp monster from your hand or deck, and it also replaces itself, which is a really good effect. We then play 3 copies of Resonance Insect. Resonant Insect is a great 3-of in the deck This card is hands down the best normal summon in the deck because it has the ability, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, then you can add a level 5 or higher insect monster from your deck to your hand. And if this card is banished, then you can send an insect type monster from your deck to the graveyard, except another copy of itself. This card is a searcher, and it's also Foolish Burial because you can normal summon this card and then link it away with Alamirage to be able to get that search, which is a really powerful effect. We then play 3 copies of Dragon Bite. Dragon Bite is one of my favorite cards in this entire deck, and it's relatively new. It's super good because it is a tuner monster and helps you go in for some amazing synchro plays, because when it's normal summon, you can special summon out a level 4 or lower insect monster from your hand. It also lets you level manipulate your monsters as well, because you can banish one level 4 or lower insect monster from your hand or graveyard, or face from your field to target a monster that you control and increase its level by the monster that you banish level, which is a really good effect to be able to get the exact level of the monster that you need on your field so you can synchro summon into cards like Borreload Savage or even Baron de Fleur. We then play 3 copies of Retaliating Sea. Retaliating Sea is a good hand trap in this deck because it has the ability that during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a spell effect that includes the effect to special summon a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is summoned this way, while this card is face up on the field, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead, which is a pretty good effect because this deck does need to put its cards in the graveyard, but it also can work for cards being banished with cards like your heavy Beetrooper, Mighty Neptune, using that ability to its advantage. But it's a really, really good card because it also has the ability, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add an Earth Insect type monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand, searching cards like Resident Insect, or cards like our Goki Pole, which we play as a 2-of in the deck. Goki Pole is a good 2-of in the deck because it has the ability, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a level 4 insect monster from your deck to your hand. Then if you added a normal monster, you can special summon that card, then destroy a monster on the field with attack greater than or equal to the special summon monsters, which is a pretty good effect because we do actually play a single normal monster in the deck to special summon off this card's effect. We then play a single copy of Doomdozer, which is pretty much a Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning ish insect monster because it has the ability that you banish 2 insect monsters from the graveyard to special summon this card to your side of the field. This card is a great one-of to just get onto your side of the field as a 2800 attack with monster to be able to attack or use as a link material. We then play a single copy of Needle. Needle is the card that we're going to be summoning off the copy of Goki Pole, and it's just a really good card overall, because it can out-bury your Statue of the Stormwinds if your opponent summons it to your side, or summons it to their side of the field, because you can use Goki Pole and then use this card to be able to attack through that card because it has only 1000 attack points where this has 1200, which is a great thing to basically stop our opponent from locking us into wind monsters. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing some really powerful spells in this deck, and starting off, we're going to be playing a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is a good one-of in this deck because it's going to stop your opponent from hand-trapping you while you're going into all of your crazy awesome plays. We're then playing a single copy of Beetrooper Formation. Beetrooper Formation is a good field spell in the deck because it lets you target a Beetrooper monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but it can attack this turn and you lose life points equal to the original attack of the monster you special summon. And if a face-up insect monsters you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you get to special summon a Beetrooper token to your side of the field that's an Earth Insect, level 3, 1000 attack, 1000 defense, and you can only use each effect this card once per turn. Basically makes it so all of your Beetroopers float into a token, which is really, really good, or all your insect monsters float into a token, which is insanely good. We then play 2 copies of Beetrooper Descent. Originally when I built this deck, I wasn't playing this card, but this card is actually really, really good because it has the ability to let you special summon a Beetrooper token to your side of the field that's a level 3 insect earth monster with 1000 attack, 1000 defense. And then if you control an insect monster with 3000 or more attack, which usually you will when you activate this card, you get to destroy one other spell or trap on the field, which is a really powerful effect to pop any spell or trap that your opponent might have, because this card is searchable as well off your copy of your Sting Lancer. So this card is a great 2-of to basically pop spells and traps and also give you an extender for your tokens. We then play 2 copies copies of Ready Fusion. I feel like 2 copies of Ready Fusion is fine in this deck. We do have a card that we summon out of the extra deck with this card. So this card is a great 2-of to special summon out our Kimura Hercules to be able to just get us another monster on our side of the field that's a level 6, so we can go into some really, really good plays. I only play 2 copies of this card because we only play 1 target in the extra deck, and you really only need 2 copies of this card in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More. I play 3 copies of this card because we don't want our opponent to establish a crazy field against us, because we want to be able to activate this card so we can go into all of our plays to be able to go in after our opponent. Your opponent won't take any damage when you activate this card for the rest of the turn, but that's not that big of a deal because you're basically going to establish a crazy board that then on the following turn you're going to go in for game. So this card is a great 3-of in the deck, so you can make your crazy big fields. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the trap that we play, because we only play a single trap in the deck. And the single trap we're playing is a single copy of Beetrooper, Fly, and Sting. Fly and Sting is a great counter trap that is searchable in the deck that has the ability that when an opponent's monster activates an effect, while you control a Beetrooper monster, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. And then during your opponent's end phase, if this card's in the graveyard and you control an insect monster with 3,000 or more attack points, you can banish an insect monster from the graveyard to set this card back to your field. And you can only use 1 effect of this card per turn. This card is absolutely insane because you can use it over and over again. It is just a really good card in this deck. I don't feel like you need any more than 1 of this card. I could see 2 copies of this card, but since you can roll it so many times from the graveyard, I just played a single copy, and it's searchable off of your Sting Lancer, which is why I just played 1. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing a single copy of Giant Beetrooper, Invincible Atlas. This card is a crazy powerful boss monster that can go to 5,000 attack points, with the ability that while this card is link summoned on your field, has 3,000 or less attack points, your opponent cannot target this card with effects, and it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects either. And you can't special summon monsters except for insect monsters, and you contribute an insect monster to activate 1 of these effects. Either special summon a Beetrooper monster from your deck, or this card gains 2,000 attack points into the end of the turn, which is just crazy awesome that this card can go to 5,000 attack points. We then play a single copy of Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker could be a Boral Sword if you're looking for a little bit more budget of an option, but it's a really good card in this deck to be able to just pop additional cards on the field, to be able to go in for game. We then play a single copy of Appaloosa. Appaloosa is really good in the deck to be able to just establish multiple monster negates, and it's super easy to put 4 monsters into this card to get a really powerful Appaloosa. We then play 2 copies of the Link 3 Insect Monster. This card is a really good card in the deck because it has the ability that it gains 200 attack points for each counter on it, and you can only use 1 of the following effects per turn. That if this card is link summoned, you can place a counter on this card for each insect monster that was used to link summon this card, and then you can quick effect remove a counter from this card to special summon a level 4 lower insect monster from the graveyard in defense position, which is really awesome that it's a quick effect so you can use it during your opponent's turn. We then play 2 copies of Beetrooper Armorhorn. Armorhorn is a good 2-of in this deck because it has the ability that you can't special summon anything but insect monsters, and you can only use effect this card once per turn, but during your main phase, immediately as this card resolves, you can normal summon an insect monster, and if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 3 insect monsters from the grave to special summon this card, but banish them when it leaves the field, which is a really good effect because it combos very well with Mighty Neptune in the main deck, because it's going to give you that banish of 3 to be able to use with Mighty Neptune. We then play a single copy of the Inzektor Link monster. This card is really good to be able to basically shuffle back 3 of your insect monsters in the deck and then let you draw a card, so this card is a great 1-of. Play a single copy of Needle Fiber because it helps us climb into some really good plays in the deck, which is why I play it as a 1-of in here. And then we play a single copy of Alamirage. Alamirage is really good with Resonance Insect because you can normal summon out the Resonance Insect and then link it away for this card to be able to get that effect off of a search of a level 5 or higher insect monster. We then play a single copy of Cicada King. Cicada King is super easy to summon in this deck because you can basically just normal Beetrooper Scout Buggy and then special summon out another one off of its effect and overlay into this card. This card is a really good walking negate, which is why we play it as a 1-of. We then play a single copy of Borreload Savage Dragon because it can give us a bunch of different negates and is easy to summon with cards like Dragon Bite in the deck. We then play a single copy of Baron de Fleur, which is again very easy to summon in this deck, and it's just a really powerful synchro monster to be able to summon off of all of your different tutor monsters that you play in this build. We then play a single copy of Battle Wasp Ballista the Armageddon. This card is a good one of in my personal attack of the deck because it has the ability, if this card is special summon, you can banish all insect monsters in the graveyard, and all monsters your opponent control lose 500 attack and defense for each of your banished insect monsters. And if this card attacks a defense position monster, it does piercing damage, and then if this synchro summoned card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card, then you can special summon out 3 of your banished insect monsters that are level 11 and lower. So this card is a really good tech boss monster for the deck that is super easy to summon off of your copy of Dragon Bite because it can level manipulate a monster to increase its level by 4 to be able to go into this card, which is really, really good. We then play a single copy of Kamora Hercules, which is our ready fusion target. This card is really, really good in the deck and recently got reprinted in OTS Pack 18, so it's a very cheap card for this deck. It's just a really fun card to be able to play because you can basically just go in for this card super easy, normal summon out the Dragon Bite, and then go in for Baron de Fleur, which is super, super awesome for this deck. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really fun deck to play with. It's hands down one of the best insect decks ever created, and it's just super fun to be able to play with because Beetroopers are just so powerful and just really fun to play with. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.